And as you know, Laos is the chair at ASEAN, and next year Malaysia will be the chair. And now I would like to give the floor to the member of the House of Representatives of the Parliament of Malaysia, Ahmad Fayhsal. Can you tell us what should we pay attention to when we organize cooperation with Malaysian partners in the context of our today's topic?
First and foremost, thank you, Chami, for the introduction. My name is Wan Fayhsal. I'm a member of Parliament in Malaysia, Duma, like in Russia. I used to be a Deputy Youth and Sports Minister before, so I have some experience in government. Okay, let me give you some broad idea first about ASEAN and business. ASEAN traditionally has always been non-aligned in terms of bloc. During the Soviet era, during the Cold War, we never sided with any of the superpowers. So we are open for business as always with Russia, with the US, with anyone, as long as you respect our sovereignty and also our independence. That's why when President Putin proposed BRICS with other major countries, ASEAN members are very much keen to explore the opportunities to work within that framework. And for that matter, we need to understand first what ASEAN is in terms of demography and character. I just would like to emphasize on one particular dimension, one of the major dimensions of ASEAN, which is ASEAN is actually a Muslim majority region. We have about 1.6 billion Muslim worldwide. The largest Muslim country is not in the Arabia, in the Middle East, but is in our region, Indonesia, almost 300 million Muslim, including Malaysia and other smaller countries like Thailand, Vietnam, and others. So if you talk about business, ASEAN and BRICS experience, one cannot overlook the halal global economy. Meaning to say, the money or the opportunities of Islamic halal businesses between BRICS and ASEAN is huge. I'll give you an example in terms of numbers. The halal global market worldwide is $2 trillion. $2 trillion. Halal meat market alone, poultry, beef, is around $880.4 billion, almost $1 trillion. And I can tell you the Muslim in ASEAN countries, we are okay if those exporters are not from Muslim countries. Because the largest exporters of halal product in terms of food were two nations, Brazil and India. They are not Islamic majority or Muslim majority countries. So I foresee Russia can also penetrate into this market, as long as you understand what to be done in terms of communication. First and foremost, I think the issues facing Russian businesses in Malaysia, as I've gathered from some of my colleagues from the embassy and also from the Malaysian business counterpart, of course, we are facing challenges in terms of sanction. US unilateral sanction against Russia impacting Malaysia-Russia businesses. One thing for sure, most of Russian and Malaysian businesses are afraid to do deals or transactions because of that sanction. But Malaysia as a government, we do not recognize unilateral sanction. We only recognize multilateral sanction by the UN Security Council. So for example, last week, the US penalized one Malaysian company who's been selling semiconductor components to Russian companies. That's why we were shocked. Why on earth suddenly the US raised this alarm? Whereas the Indian counterpart has always been selling semiconductor products to the Russians. Why did the US did not sanction Indian companies, instead Malaysia? Because they dare not to sanction India, because they need India to counterbalance China, India, Indo-Pacific Framework and others, Quad and others. So you can see the hypocrisy of the US in this matter. Secondly, there's a lack of information between Russia and Malaysia. Why? Previously, before special operation in Ukraine, I always read Sputnik, RT.com and others, TASS News. But lately, my algorithm in Malaysia, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, has blocked and denied Malaysian access to Russian news. Maybe we can use Telegram for that. But because of that, we do not know the development currently in Russia, vice versa in Malaysia. So lack of information flow between two businesses, Malaysia and Russia, has impacted our trade progress. And thirdly, Russian businesses have not utilized Malaysia, Indonesia, and the region expertise in Islamic financing. Because the Muslim in the whole world now are moving towards this. The largest sector in halal global economy is Islamic finance. Almost $2 trillion, as I mentioned just now. So most Muslims, in general, do not accept usury in their Islamic transaction. Meaning to say, if you want to purchase cars, houses, or any matters like trade deals, we prefer to use a banking system that is not based on usury, or riba in Arabic. So this is a big and growing market in ASEAN. So if Russian businesses are interested to be in this, you have to capitalize on Malaysia or Indonesia capital market for loans and everything. And also, I believe there's a big concern where I think Russian or BRICS countries have overlooked in terms of tourism. I've not seen a lot of Muslim traveling to this part of the world. Maybe because of difficulties in having, flight. You need to transit in Dubai or Istanbul for that. There's no direct connection between ASEAN countries and Russia. So this hamper people-to-people exchange. My people doesn't know Russia. Russian people doesn't know Malaysia or ASEAN because of that lack of communication. So we need to establish this link first in order to improve people-to-people communication. Hence, it will improve the business communication. And I think for the business side, communication-wise, we need to create some sort of shared mechanism to bypass SWIFT. Maybe a ruble clearinghouse, we already have yuan clearinghouse in Malaysia between Malaysian bank and also Chinese bank. So if we have this sort of mechanism, we can grow our trade in various aspects. Traditionally, in Malaysia, Russia, we always exchange in terms of military. We buy Sukhoi before. We also barter trade using palm oil during my fourth Prime Minister, Dr. Mahathir, and President Putin in 2000. So we only limit by that. I think there can be more market access, like pharmaceutical, agricultural product, and also fashion. I believe fashion could be one of the sector that can be established between Russia and Malaysia and ASEAN. When I went to Kazan Forum last year, I saw creativity among Russian Muslims in producing clothing. So this could be one of the areas that I believe we can develop further. But again, as I said, we in Malaysia do not know the fashion design in Russia, what kind of clothing you're wearing or what kind of fashion houses you have, unless the information being established at the news level. So we have to find ways for that to be established. And I believe despite the sanction that we face now, we can march through by working within a multilateral platform. A few days back, I was in a forum, in a panel with the Eurasian Economic Union. So I talked to the members. If we face sanction bilaterally between Russia and Malaysia especially, then we need to find a further new framework of multilateral so that we can establish a free trade agreement between Eurasian Union and also ASEAN, for that matter, or Malaysia. If we can do this, I'm sure trade can flow better between Russia, Malaysia, Russia, ASEAN, and vice versa. So maybe that's all I can share for the time being. Thank you, Chami, for the opportunity.
Большое спасибо вам за...
Thank you very much. What do you think? I'm addressing the speakers. Is that necessary knowledge? Is it easier for you to work with the counterparts who know your culture and language? And does it have any positive impact on the project implementation? A couple of minutes for...
Malaysia and Singapore alike, we were a former colony of the United Kingdom, British. So our main language in business would be English. So those who can speak English would have easy, I would say, access to Malaysian market, especially at the corporate level, when you deal with legal firms, taxation and others. Also from our government side, most of our civil servants are English speaking, able to speak English. But of course, like all other ASEAN countries, if you could speak our local language, which is Bahasa, not much different from Indonesia. Malaysia and Indonesia, we share the same root of language, Bahasa Melayu or Indonesia. That would be bonus. But culturally, as I mentioned just now, Malaysia being a majority Muslim countries, there are certain do's and don'ts. For example, sometimes you deal with more conservative Muslim in Malaysia, ladies and men cannot shake hands. Those are some peculiarities that must be observed. But in other matters, I think, for example, in Malaysia, we rarely have wine during our dinner meeting, after party, there's no such thing. Very quite straightforward in terms of business deal. So those are very much based on Islamic and local culture sensitivities. But by far and large, as what reported by World Bank in 2020, Malaysia ranked 19 out of 190 countries in terms of ease of doing business. Meaning to say, if you are used to doing business in the West, you can easily just come to Malaysia to do business with us, because we have almost the same framework of doing business like you experience in Europe or in the US. So that's my comment. Thank you.